Alright, so this is 13-2. These are your fractions without using a calculator. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first one. Whenever you are adding or subtracting fractions, you have to have a common denominator. So my denominators here are 3 and 5. So my common denominator would be 15, and I did that just by multiplying. Okay, so I'm going to do a different color real quick. If you don't remember how to do this, you just say, okay, 3 times what gave me 15, and that would be 5. So if I multiply the denominator by 5, I'd have to multiply the numerator by 5. And then you have, okay, well, 5 times what gives me 15? Well, that'd be 5 times 3. So whatever you multiply by the denominator, you have to multiply the numerator by. So I'm going to rewrite this and make it nice and pretty. So I have 4 times 5 minus 3 times 3. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and reduce this. 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 3 is 9, and that's over 15. 20 minus 9 will give me 11, and that's 11 divided by 15. And I can't reduce that because 11 is a prime number. Okay, example number 2. So my common denominator here actually can be 9 because 3 goes into 9. So I'm going to write my 9 here. Again, I'm going to go ahead and write in different colors so that you can see where I'm getting these numbers from. So my denominator is 3. 3 times what gives me 9? Well, that's 3 times 3. So whatever you do in the denominator, you have to do it in the numerator. And then for the other side, 9 times what gives me 9? Well, that's just 1. So nothing's going to really change here. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this. 5 times 3 plus 17 times 1. And so I'm going to go ahead and reduce this. So 5 times 3 is 15. 17 times 1 is 17, and I am dividing that by 9. Okay, if you need to, you're more than welcome to go off to the side if you need to do your addition over here. 5 plus 7 is 12. Carry my 1, that's 32. So that's 32 over 9. The only number that goes into 9 is 3. 32 is not divisible by 3. And so 32 divided by 9 is my final answer. Okay, so now we have a little bit more of a complex problem because we have 3 fractions here. But if you notice, the biggest number I have is 10, and all my denominators will go into 10. So that's what I'm going to use here as my common denominator. All right, so I'll do my different colors so you can see where these numbers are coming from. 10 times what gives me 10? Well, that's times 1, so I'll multiply this by 1. 2 times what gives me 10? Well, that's 5, so I'm going to multiply this by 5. 5 times what gives me 10? Let me get a different color, which is going to be 2. So I'll multiply this by 2. So I'm going to rewrite this nice and pretty. So I have 9 times 1 minus 3 times 5 plus 4 times 2. And when I do all of this, let me go ahead and reduce it. 9 times 1 is 9. Minus 3 times 5 is 15. Plus 4 times 2 is 8. And that's all over 10. Okay, and I'm going to do this a little bit backwards because 9 plus 8 is 17. 17 minus 15 is 2. And I can reduce 2 over 10 because they're both even, and 2 can go into both of those. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So my answer here is 1/5. So that's how you add and subtract fractions. Just make sure you have your common denominator. Now, whenever you're multiplying, you can just multiply straight across. And if there's anything you can reduce in the diagonals or in the numerator denominator, you want to reduce that before multiplying. It makes it a lot easier. So for example, what I'm going to look at are a couple of things. 5 over 4, I can't reduce. 7 over 2, I cannot reduce. Okay. 5 and 2, I can't reduce. 4 and 7, I can't reduce. So this is as simple as I can get. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply my numerator, so 5 times 7. And I'm going to multiply my denominator, so 4 times 2. 5 times 7 gives me 35, and 4 times 2 gives me 8. 35, the only numbers that go into 35 are 5 and 7. 8 is not divisible by either one of those, so that is the reduced form. All right, so now with division, I don't know if y'all know the saying or not, but my teachers always taught me, is when you're dividing by fractions, don't ask why, just flip the second and multiply. So here I'm going to have 13 over 12 times, and now I'm going to flip this second one. So that's going to be 4 over 11. Now before I multiply, I'm going to see if there's anything I can reduce. All right, and so the way that you do this is you look at 13 over 12 and you look at 4 over 11. And neither one of those can be reduced. So now I'm going to look at on my diagonals. Okay, I have 13 over 11. I cannot reduce that. Okay, and then I also have here 4 over 12. Well, I can reduce 4 over 12. And what I can do is 4 goes into 12 3 times and 4 goes into 4 1 time. So pretty much I'm just pulling a 4 out. So this will become a 1 and this is going to become a 3. Okay, all it is pulled the 4 out. And this makes it a lot easier because now my answer, when I multiply across, 13 times 1 will be on top and 3 times 11 will be on the denominator. So when I multiply that out, 13 times 1 is 13, and 3 times 11 is 33. And again, 13 is a prime number, so there's nothing you can do to reduce this. All right, example number 3. Now we have some stuff that we have to do with order of operations. Before you divide, you want to do what's inside the parentheses. So I'm looking here, I have 11 divided by 6, 9 divided by 19. So again, you want to look and see if there's anything you can reduce just in your fractions, and there's not. And then you want to see if there's anything you can reduce in your diagonal. So 11 and 19, those are both prime numbers. I can't do anything with that. But here with this 6 and 9, I can actually reduce that because 3 goes into both of those numbers. So with that being said, 9 divided by 3 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I'm going to rewrite this. So I have 5 over 2 divided by, and I'm going to go ahead and try to multiply this out. So 11 times 3 is on top, which is 33. And 2 times 19 is on bottom. If you're not sure what 19 times 2 is, I'm not going to penalize you at all for going off to the side and saying, okay, 2 times 9 is 18. Carry my 1. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. So we have 38. Okay, that can't reduce because 33 is 11 and 3. Neither one of those numbers go into 38. And then we're going to go back to our rule. So the rule says, and then someone put equals, when you're dividing by a fraction, you don't ask why. You just flip the second and multiply. So 38 over 33. Okay, so then you ask yourself again, is there anything that I can reduce? So when I look at this, okay, I have 5 and 33. I can't reduce that. That was a 33. Okay, and then what I can reduce though is I have a 2 and a 38 here that I can go ahead and simplify. So I can pull a 2 out of both of these. So this is going to become just a 1. And 38 divided by 2 is 19. All right, so then we're going to go ahead and we're going to multiply this across. So over here I'm going to do 19 times 5. And so when I multiply that out, 5 times 9 is 45, carry my 4. 5 times 1 is 5, 5 plus 4 is 9. So we're going to have 95 over 1 times 33 is just 33. And again, I can't reduce this because 33 is just 3 and 11, and neither one of those numbers go into 95. All right, and the last little problem I'm going to do here, these are order of operations with fractions. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to focus on this left side. I'm going to reduce all that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to focus on the right side, and then I'll reduce all of this. So on the left side, using order of operations, I'm going to go inside the parentheses. So I'm going to have 1 plus 2 minus 3 is a negative 1 to the 7th power, not squared. Going ahead of myself. All that squared. Negative 1 to the 7th power. So if it's to an even number, it will always be a positive. To an odd number, it's going to be negative. So here I'm going to have 1, this is going to be negative 1. So 1 minus 1 squared. Well, 1 minus 1 is 0, and 0 squared is 0. So pretty much I can ignore this whole piece. And what it comes down to is just this division over here. So I have 3 over 4 times 6 over 2, because remember when you're dividing by fractions, don't ask why I flip the second and multiply. So I'm going to look and see if there's anything I can reduce, and there is. The 4 and the 6 in my diagonal are both divisible by 2, so this is going to become a 3, and this is going to become a 2. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply across. So 3 times 3 is 9, and 2 times 2 is 4. I can't reduce 9 over 4, so that is my final answer. And that is it for, that's it for your fractions. So now you're going to go ahead and work on your worksheets.